now to Thobani Zikalala, political analyst, to talk more about this. A very good evening to Mr. Zikalala. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Do you agree with the view that given the recent by-elections in KwaZulu Natal, that the IFP's growth could be a serious threat for the ANC in the province during the 2024 elections?
Good evening to you, and good evening to your viewers. I think the recent events, of course, in the province give us an idea that 2024 could mean a very big change politically in KwaZulu-Natal. And of course, this is something that is said even for politics in South Africa, that the 2024 elections are going to be a watershed election. Of course, we may see, some of us can agree to a changing of hands in KwaZulu-Natal, that it's going to happen. But I'm not of the view that it will be an outright victory for any party in KwaZulu-Natal. I think what's going to happen is that KwaZulu-Natal may be taken back to the politics of around 1999, 2004, when it was in a coalition government. That coalition government may mean the IFP and DA on the other side, and it may mean ANC and EFF on the other side. That is, if the relationships that have been formed through the coalitions in local government are able to be sustained. One of the biggest hurdles that the IFP will have to pass by is this idea that they are a rural party, and that will help them to be able to get the necessary numbers they will need to get, because I do not see any party in KwaZulu-Natal getting beyond 50% in 2024.
And what underpins the current politics in KwaZulu-Natal, which you say are reflective of the period that you have just mentioned? Because at that time, the common refrain was that it is driven by tribal or ethnic politics.
Of course, many people will say that maybe about the province that it is mainly governed or directed by tribal politics. But the province has changed a lot. There is many demands that are in the province. There is this idea that any party that comes in now must be able to promise clean government, must be able to be a party that is able to appeal to both urban and rural KwaZulu-Natal with its differences, because KwaZulu-Natal presents a very beautiful dynamic that maybe other provinces could have. KwaZulu-Natal is a cross between rural and urban and your peri-urban areas. You need to have a party that is able to speak to all those dynamics. And currently in KwaZulu-Natal there hasn't been a party that has been able to control the rural and the urban. And the IFP in the past has been seen as a party of the former Zululand authority type of areas that were part of the areas that were governed by the Zululand authority in the past. If you see its performances in rural KwaZulu-Natal, especially in going towards the north, it's predominantly still is that type of party. Of course, they've tried to make some headway to try to move into the areas that are viewed as urban, where, of course, the political dynamic and political consciousness may be different to outside of what the rural areas have. The idea here is that the rural KwaZulu-Natal is deeply traditional, and the IFP in the past has come out as a very Zulu traditional party. If they really want to come in the province in 2024, they will have to go beyond that heritage. They'll have to go beyond the heritage that sees them as a Zulu traditional and somewhat to some people, as they will say, a backward party. You need to have a party that brings itself forward to a 21st century type of politics. We have seen that they've tried to go to that regard, but of course their roots seem to have held them a bit. If they are not able to appeal, especially to the young new voter, because there is very little you can do now in terms of the traditional voters, the people who have voted before. What you need to do is to capture the new voter that is coming into the ballot to be able to consolidate your support. And if the IFP is not able to do that, I don't see their chances of an outright victory in 2024 coming to pass.
I want to look at the recent by-elections that the IFP have won. It's believed that based on the recent growth that the EFF saw, it was disappointed with these results. But I also want to look at the Umgungundlovu district municipality as instructive of the ANC's strangled hold, which is said to be slipping. There's a political analyst who is of the view that the role that former President Jacob Zuma played, for instance, in particularly southern KwaZulu Natal, he turned it into a rock-solid ANC territory. Does that mean the loss of him at the helm is also what is eating away at the ANC's support?
Of course, there is any figure inside the ANC, especially a figure like Jacob Zuma in KwaZulu Natal, a very important historical figure. He will always be someone who has an impact. But I would like to believe that beyond the analysis of isolating Zuma as the only figure, as the only factor that can either give or take support away from the ANC. For me, in as much as, of course, Zuma is a colossal figure in the province who amasses a lot of support, and he is one person and one figure in the ANC who's been able to allow the ANC to be able to crisscross, especially to make some headway in rural KwaZulu-Natal. But an analysis that stops there, for me, is a bit lazy in the sense that there are many factors in this province, especially inside the ANC, that may make the ANC to lose support. The ANC may, as a governing party, which has governed KwaZulu-Natal for the past 10 years, may have lost its touch and the trust of the people of KwaZulu-Natal with maybe its perceived failure of delivering services in the province. You need a party that is away and runs away or moves away from this idea of personality politics and goes into the politics and the substantial politics of delivering on the promises that it makes or makes to the people.
So,
the
final
idea
question.
Of how the ANC treats it.
Okay, so you can finish that train of thought when you answer my next question, which is the final question. So the IFP says its strategy is to ensure that it brings the ANC's support to below 50% in the 2024 elections. By its own admission, through its national spokesperson, it says that they didn't win in Port Shepstone and Umshati by-elections, but they believe that their general strategy is working, is leading to growth. But I want to know why these results were what they were. What do they need to improve in that strategy, and what does the ANC then have to focus on in order to stop this growth of the IFP?
For me, the issue here is the ANC as a governing party needs to ensure that the social contract that it has with its voters is fulfilled, and that is a contract of service delivery, of transparent and accountable government, of dealing with corruption, of making sure that the fundamental issues, especially in the economic front, are being dealt with in the province. The IFP needs to be able to transpose its support away from the rural KwaZulu-Natal, as I've said, which is deeply traditional, where they get a lot of their support, and be able to appeal into the urban voter, who most of the time is viewed as the voter who votes on a conscience. This is the voter that you need to touch on. This is the voter that you need to appeal to, because if you don't appeal to that voter, you don't unable to raise your support. And the last point will be the new voter will be very critical going towards 2024. I think any party that is working towards gaining enough support must pay attention to the new voter, because the number of people in this country who do not vote is more than the people who are voting in this country. And that's a point that I think we don't speak about. That's the majority of the people in this country who are eligible to vote are not voting. And any party that does not focus on those voters is going to miss a lot of support. On the other side, on the other point, getting the ANC below 50%, of course, the research is out there that the ANC is well towards not reaching 50%. So that idea is not the big problem. The big problem is when the ANC loses support, who gains that support? Is that support going to go to the IFP, or that support may go to an EFF, who for some people is viewed to be an alternative towards the ANC? Is the IFP an alternative to the ANC? And at this point, we cannot be able to determine that, because the voters that vote for the IFP seems.
Okay, I thought you'd finish your sentence, but thank you very much for your time, Thobani Zikalala. He is a political analyst, just speaking to us about recent by-elections in KwaZulu Natal and what do they mean.